Salutations, it's Chappers, and my good friend Joe Leach from Riff City Guitar asked me to take part in a competition where he's going to give away loads of pedals. Could be thousands of dollars worth of pedals he's giving away. And it's kind of a cool thing. It's this March Madness weird kind of basketball American concept. I don't know, I'm a Brit, so I have no idea about these things. Well, basically I've been tasked alongside a lot of my friends and peers to pick my top 8 overdrive fuzzes, modulation effects, times, that kind of thing. And I saw that Captain Lee posted a video with his favourites, some of which were completely wrong obviously, and I thought I'd post a video outlining my favourites and why. So in another way, this is kind of a video on my favourite effects pedals. Let's start with my top overdrive and fuzz pedals. Starting with, I chose the Thunderclaw. Here's the Thunderclaw. Captain Lee inserted some kind of cheap affordable graphic to the side of him. I actually have a real pedal here. So here's the Thunderclaw, and I really like it. Actually, I use it in a bit of a different way to I think its intended purpose. I back it right off and use it for a crunchy, fuzzy riff sound. And I find that when you buy a Thunderclaw, you write a riff. It's a riff pedal. It's a musical device. A lot of pedals I buy and I just want to shred through them and I want to play with them. But with the Thunderclaw, I was writing riffs and bits of music. And that's what I like about the Mr. Black's effects, Thunderclaw. Next, the TC Electronics Spark. Can't really remember a time when I didn't use this pedal. I think it's really an all-round great booster, but it's more than a booster. It's because I mean there is a boost section in this. It's really a drive pedal, but you can drive kind of fat, clean, mid. It's got level gain, bass, treble. It's simple, but it's really effective. And I've always liked using my Spark. Next is the Mythos Mjolnir. Now this is on my pedal board underneath my laptop and a bunch of guitars. So I'm just not going to get it out, alright? I'm sorry. But it's probably one of the nicest overdrive pedals I have ever used, and it's been on my effects pedal board since the day I got it. Thank you to the guy that gave it to me. It's brilliant, check him out. And it's I think that the Mjolnir will be one of the top pedals, or at least Mythos will be one of the top effects pedal brands of 2017. Look out for them. Next I chose the JHS Andy Timmons. I don't own one. I really should own one. I use one pretty much every time I go to Andertons and do the 2 days of review videos with my buddy Lee. It's a great pedal. I know that Lee also chose that. And I think he's absolutely correct in having done so. Andy Timmons obviously is a master of tone. JHS did really well in that collaboration, well done. Next, the Full Tone OCD. It's just a classic pedal. Must have used it 1,000 times, again mostly with the Andertons reviews on a simple board. There's nothing more to say about the Full Tone OCD other than if you haven't got one or you've not tried one, you probably really need to. Strymon Riverside is, in my opinion, one of the best drive-overdrive, drivey-drive, fuzzy-drive pedals you could probably put your fingers on and then stamp on with your feet. It took me by a big surprise. I thought it was going to be convoluted and confusing, and actually it was just beautifully natural sounding and it had some great tones. I kind of want one. Actually, Strymon just make great pedals. Well done, Strymon. Maxon are a brand to look out for, and the Maxon OD9 is kind of like a Tube Screamer clone, and I own a Tube Screamer, but you'll notice it's not in this list I've made. I prefer the really old Tube Screamers, older even than when I started playing the guitar. I think people have done some great clones of them and done great things with them, and so the Maxon is an example of this. The OD9 is a great pedal. Check it out. And my last overdrive slash distortion slash fuzz pedal is the one pedal that everybody needs to have. If you haven't got it, go and buy one if you want to. It's the Golden Plexi. It's, very, very affordable, very, very good. It's one sound really. I mean, it has a gain knob, but it doesn't really have a gain knob. It's on gain or off gain, and that's about it. The tone knob works really well, the volume works really well. Gain knob is just kind of a, it's fiction. But it's great. Check one out. Moving swiftly on to modulations, kind of choruses, flanges, that kind of thing. Now, most of these pedals I'm going to mention are on my board, and I'm not going to get them out. Let's start with the Jim Dunlop Crybaby Mini Wah. It's the best wah pedal. I'm sorry if you have the big one, or if you have any other wah pedal. The Mini Wah is the best wah pedal as far as I'm concerned. So far that I've tried. I have tried many. I don't know what it is, I don't know what they did to change the tone. It just has such a vocal quality that I can't live without it on my board. Therefore, that's my choice. Anybody else who chose incorrectly is wrong. The Moog MF Chorus and the Moog MY Flange. Moog, who would have thought they'd make great great pedals? But they do. They're really good. They're chunky, chonk for days, and they have a really interesting kind of fat. It's almost like you're putting on a vinyl of an effect. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's just got warm thickness for days, and I love both of my Moog pedals, and I'll probably never get rid of them. Boss CH1 Super Chorus. Super Chorus! Because it's a super chorus. It's not a regular chorus. This is a chorus with special powers. It's a chorus pedal and it's blue. It's got so little of the chorus effect that you crank it all the way up and then you go, oh yeah, now it's hit the sweet spot. It's a really subtle effect in relation to most of today's chorus pedals. I love it. It's from Boss. You could probably try and blend it and it would blend the blender. Dunlop Rotovibe is a pedal I've never owned, but I've always wanted to, so I just put it on this list. EHX Micro Pog, brilliant fun, tried them loads of times. Just, it's one of those pedals again where you plug in and you go, I've just written a song, or I've just written a riff, or I've become inspired to write a film score, or something crazy like that. It's just a great all-round pedal. Digitech Whammy is another pedal that I don't own. I really don't know why I don't own this pedal. In fact, I'm sure I met a distributor of them who said they'd send me one and they never did. If that was you and you're watching, please send me a Digitech Whammy because I really want to relive my childhood Rage Against the Machine dreams in this small room. Imagine that now. EHX Wiggler, brilliant pedal, loved it, had one for years, I think it died, really should get another one, but it's a great tremolo effect, go and try one out if you'd like to. Now it's time for the time effects, like delays and reverbs, that kind of thing. So obviously I've got things like the TC Electronic Hall of Fame. I used the Hall of Fame for years and years and years and years and years and years. It's really, really good. It's right up there in my top 8 reverb and delays. It is not my favourite reverb, but it's right up there. Next is the Boss FRV163 Fender Reverb, which I also think is a surprisingly good reverb pedal. And I think it was a really good collaboration of Fender and Boss. It just sounds like the spring tank on a Fender. Always loved it. The New Neighbor Immerse Reverberator is my favourite reverby delay type pedal. It's simple, does exactly what it says on its box. You can tweak it a million ways to Sunday. It's more fun than a donut with hot fudge sauce. You should definitely try one. In fact, try everything from Nebo. In fact, try the New Neighbor Wet V2, because I haven't, but it's on my list because it's a pedal I'd probably like to try. The Strymon Big Sky, I haven't got one, but whenever I hear Rabea playing his Big Sky, I think, I'm not sure the Sky could be much bigger than it currently is. It just sounds immense. Again, it's a writing pedal as far as I'm concerned. As is the Timeline, which is also on my list. If you're lucky enough to Timeline and Big Sky, then you're in some kind of heavenly place. Digitech Polara took me by surprise as a kind of semi-affordable timing, reverb, delay kind of pedal, backwards reverbs and forwards reverbs and everything. It just does a lot of what you'd want a reverb pedal to do. it was a one-stop shop. And lastly, the classic, good old TC Electronic Flashback. I think I have 3 of them. Don't know really why. In fact, I had 4 and I gave one to Dave. I gave him a massive one. Great pedal. Try it. Lots of settings, a couple of little bits of secret sauce in the Flashback that I really enjoy. Check one out. Wait, I actually had some of those pedals to hand, so I'm just going to hold them up to show you. This is the Polara. It's a really, really good pedal. You should definitely try one out. It's got a really cool looking face on it, and it's a reverberation from Digitech pedals, of course, of Miku fame. And this is one of my Flashbacks, of which I own 3. Brilliant. I like it best in the 2290 setting, but I also like it in the modulation setting, and you can get some great effects with this. Moving along swiftly to utility. So this is loopers, tuners, noise gates, compressors, EQs, volume boosts. Most of these are on my board. The first one is the MXR MC401 Boost. I cannot recall a single gig I have ever played without an MXR MC401 Boost. It is the boost. There are other boosts, and they look at the MXR MC401 in reveration and quiet solitude, and they contemplate themselves and feel unworthy in its presence. It is the holy black monolith of louder. It's the one button, one-stop shop to aural joy. It will completely sort you out in a gig. Whack it in the loop, you're 2 times the size. When you step on its button, everyone cries. MXR MC401 Boost. You need one right now. Do this for days. It's a great pedal. It never let me down. It's got more boost than I've ever needed, and it doesn't stop. It's got this really good LED and 1 knob. What more do you need in a boost? Really? What more do you need in a boost? Actually, I have a design for a boost pedal that I'd like to make at some point that might involve elements of designs that might be better than that, but one day that'll happen if I find a company that wants to work with me. Ching! EHX silencer. I've never owned one. I've never tried one, but I want one. That tells you a lot about it. TC Electronic Ditto Looper. I have one, they're brilliant, really simple. First saw Guthrie Govan using it and thought, why, oh why, do I not own this pedal? It's a simple situation. You step on it, it records you. Step on it again, it stops and plays it back to you. That's a great thing, unless what you played is rubbish, which in my case normally is. So yeah, very useful tool for teaching, I discovered, and really useful for when you start targeting notes and playing chord changes and things, which I've just entered into the realm of. So I recommend that it's a good thing to try. Boss RC3 Looper. Tried one twice, really liked it. Quite complex, a lot involved, but you could probably build a car from it and then drive it to the moon. And I think it's pretty because it's red. Boss TU3 tuner is the only tuner. There are no other tuners in my world apart from this tuner and occasionally the tuner in Das Kemper. But the tuner in the TU3 is so good that even if I'm slightly out of tune, I just feel reassured that I'm more in tune because I'm using the TU3. I'm sorry, I'm sleep deprived and I don't care. It's a great pedal. I don't know how old this one is, probably older than me. When I'm dead and the earth has dissolved into a mush, this will be floating in space like this. Tuning space. Space will be a better frequency because the TU3 is in it. MXR Dynacomp. Brilliant pedal. MXR make great pedals. I love MXR. Great guys. Great pedals. Dynacomp. It's a compressor. Try one out. As is the micro amp. Not that it's a compressor, but it's a micro amp. It's a kind of boosty type pedal. I've always wanted one. I first tried a micro amp when I went to Chandler Guitars in Kew, which was my heaven as a child. All the staff there were amazing. Charlie was brilliant. There was a little lift. They would lower the amps down and they would let you play things, even if you were an 18-year-old scrote with not a penny to rub together. And I loved that store. And lastly, the Kili Katana. Mostly because I like saying Kili Katana. It's great sounding and really reliable. Kili, obviously, what brand. And that is my list of pedals that I have voted for to be the top 8 for each of those sections. I highly recommend you check them out. There are some pedals I haven't noticed, or haven't mentioned, sorry, in that list. I have them with me here. They're not on the list, but I'm going to show you. The Proctavia by Voodoo Labs. Now, I love this pedal, and I only got this because Joe Satriani uses it. Joe, if you ever watch my videos, I love you, man. ESD, the Zoo Drive. I have 2 of these because they keep sending them to me. And it worked. Because when they sent me the first one, I went, it does all this stuff and I don't know what any of it's doing. And then I kind of just left it on a shelf, and eventually it had so much dust that I didn't recognise it, and I picked it up and dusted it and tried it again. And then it sent me another one, and then eventually I learned that there are 4 or 5 settings that sound immense, and I've used them many times. I think that the issue was that they name things roar, growl, hiss and bite, and you kind of know what it means, but come on. Actually, not lastly, but it's kind of last. The Sue Guitars pedal. It's Smashing Pumpkins, it's everything grungy. It's everything you need in a pedal. It's insane. But it didn't quite make it into my list. And I don't know why. I can't think why. And there's one other pedal, and I didn't put it in my list because you can't buy it anymore. And that's the Jimi Hendrix limited edition fuzz octave pedal, which is the best pedal in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I've been Rob Chapman, and I apologise for this video. Please check out my friends at Riff Guitars, and please try these wonderful pedals by these incredible companies, and have yourself a fantastic day. Chap is considerably out.